So they say you have to fake it till you make it. They also say you get to determine your own success. So my question is, if you have to fake it till you make it, but you get to determine your own success, once you reach success, are you your authentic self or the version that you had to be successful? I don't know.
Let's talk about it. Everyone wears masks. They come in all different shapes and sizes. The only problem with trying one on is that it fits. So you had, when I sent you that, there was something you said, but when I read it, I'm like, the idea of being a fraud and or versus believing before you achieve it. So the context is, again, fake it till you make it. And I was watching this podcast called The Future, and they went into this whole dialogue surrounding design work, being a designer and creating this, not a facade, but walking in the truth of I'm a designer versus, and which could present, if you're not careful, you could present yourself as a fraud, or I have so much faith in my ability as a creative that I'm going to take this journey as a designer. And so I believe before I actually achieve it. And so that's where the context came in. But with this idea of everyone wears a mask, I think I wear masks sometimes. But I don't think that it is to be presented as a fraud or inauthentic. It's more as a way to show my confidence in an unknown space, time, environment.
So my first impressions of that is really around this whole idea of philosophy of, yes, sometimes you have to stretch beyond your comfort zone. So for me, I do think there are opportunities that you get to lean into what you have to project to where you want to become or where you want to go. I think I take issue with when you pretend so long that you start to lose who you really are in that process. So I think that's where I wrestle with kind of those two things. So first thoughts though is, yes, I agree. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. Whether it's a job that you're stretch applying for, pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone because you don't know whether you can do it or not. Totally understand that. But I guess I go to, is there a threshold of time and how long do you fake it before you start to actually walk into that confidence that you just talked about?
And see, that's the bubble that I was presented and bursting.
Okay.
That term, fake it till you make it, was something that I received as a, just growing up. You fake it till you, but when you look at the term fake, there is no authenticity in that term whatsoever. Mm-hmm. You're a fraud. You're either lying. There's negative connotations. Yep. Let's just say that. And so I'm challenging the people. Do we really want to continue to say fake it till you make it, or can we rearrange that? Do we want to say it's wearing a mask is okay, and in many cases it is. But again, I was watching The Future, which is a podcast or video show on YouTube. It's without the E, the FUTUR, and no E. And he switched it to believe it until you achieve it. And I know that's corny. Right? Look at my man's. But the idea was trying to create a positive spin instead of the idea of faking it.
So bring this to life for me. Bring this to life for me. You have a story where you had to help me understand, help it make sense for me.
Shoot. So just recently,
okay.
I've always aspired to be an entrepreneur, right? And I've actually taken the leap in some cases, right? Opened up my own little shop at Eastern Town Center, yada yada yada. But it wasn't really I wasn't really being a true entrepreneur. It was the idea, and then I actually had a store and blah. But most recently, we have a few projects on the table that I can't necessarily say I'm extremely confident in performing in the context of those projects. One is helping a small brand develop a label. The other is working with a multi-million-dollar company and developing their brand. These are things that I do. I am creative. I know how to do them in my bubble, in my safe space, with family, friends, profession, blah, 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 blah. But then we're presented with the idea of now you got to stand before somebody or have a phone call with the CEO, and you have to inform them your thoughts and your ideas. And there's a level of like insecurity. And so, and I hate using the term, but I fake it. I fake and stand behind my ability to learn, my ability to create. And it may not be, comparatively to somebody else that does it what I deem as great, but to the individual I'm speaking to, they think it's wonderful. So those are examples where I'm quote unquote faking it. And it's not really faking it because it's really what is my ability. It's just a lack of confidence in that space. Does that make sense?
It does. So now I'm hitting you with the hindsight 2020.
Okay.
So you flip the terminology, right?
Trying to.
Well, okay. So when you flip the terminology, and what was it again? Remind me.
Believe it till you achieve it. That's not my
believe it till you achieve it. So take that same example, hindsight 2020. How do you approach that same example with the mindset of believe it till you achieve it?
Man, I think there's a level of you faking it. To me is
now we're focusing on believe it to achieve it.
Okay, believing it till you achieve until you achieve.
So take that same exact example. Now, how do you posture in a way that you believe in it to achieving it?
Because you relying on your ability to learn.
What does it look like? You're on the phone with that CEO.
There's a level of confidence that you have to stand on when you're presenting your ideas.
Okay.
And you're not comparing it to anything other than the energy and the effort that you put in to produce that thing. Mm-hmm. And if you put in 100%, and you gave it your all to develop the concept as best as you could in that space and time, have confidence in that ability, and then believe that would translate to the person you're communicating to. For example, I can come to you and say, hey man, I'd like to design your home. And you're like, okay. And I'm like, well, I don't, that lack of confidence, you're like, you don't believe it. You don't believe in your ability to design it anyway. So that's
so what you said and what you hit on, the undertone of all of that was confidence. Yes. So believe it to achieve it means presenting yourself with confidence.
I guess you could say that. Yeah, I didn't realize that's what I'm saying, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But do you
go ahead.
What are your thoughts in the idea of playing that? Yeah.
So so hindsight 2020, if I rethink about that, that quote under the idea of believe it till you achieve it with the undertone of confidence being it, then again, the same example I kind of gave earlier about the, seeing a job description that you may not meet the qualifications for, you may not have 100% of the experience, but if you're confident in the application process, or if you get the interview and you present yourself with confidence, I do agree that confidence plays a major role. And I know people like the ideas of, catchphrases, right? So believe it till you achieve it is a great catchphrase.
Right.
But for me, the hindsight 2020 is whatever your ideas are, just present it with confidence.
But there's a level of truth in order to have that confidence, though.
So yes and no, right? So I think for me personally, I really stand behind this conviction of the confidence, which I agree the confidence is the undertone. The confidence will have you tapping into things that you don't realize you know and that you can do. So I think about it, many of us have transitioned into new opportunities within the current organizations or companies that we're in, right? And usually I would say most people, when you're transitioning, it's about a 6-month piece of you learning a new job and you're trying to get comfortable with the role. But there comes a moment, right, that not necessarily the honeymoon is over, but that timidness of, I'm just new into this kind of goes away, because now you're engaging in meetings, engaging in conversations much differently. And the only really difference is you now have confidence. Now, confidence with experience come together. I guess going back to my first pieces, and again, that time period of how long are you faking it before you just own this space and walk in confidence. And I guess, so for me, the hindsight 2020 is it's okay to fake it till you make it, believe it till you achieve it. I just say walk with confidence rather than believing it till you achieve it. For me, is if you project yourself with confidence, confidence could also be in being curious and asking questions.
And that's what I wanted to add. The confidence in your ability to learn, your confidence in your ability to execute. It may not be knowledge. Your confidence in the knowledge and the experience may not be there, right? Because you're new. But you do understand, I have the ability to create. Gotcha. I know I have that. So it may not be creative because I don't understand where we at right now, but I do have that ability. So I'm confident in my ability to learn, to create, and then to communicate that creative.
So the bubble that we just bursted is, we ain't even talking about that fake it till you make it. We just ain't walking the confidence and the confidence to learn and grow.
Yeah.
That's simple.
I think you shut it down right there.
Yeah, it is. See y'all next time.